Any questions, please? Akram? Why are you hiding yourself? Huh? Will you be coming tomorrow or you're going to Islamabad for Khudam Waqar Amal?
I'll come tomorrow.
You're coming tomorrow morning? Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. Hazur, we know that Jesus, while he was a prophet, stayed only about 3 years in Palestine. Yet we have a book, the Bible, which was revealed to him while he was in that area only in 3 years. After that, he spent a very vast amount of his time in the eastern part of the world, Kashmir and all those places, and yet we don't have that kind of book or that much history.
It's very interesting question and very intelligent. I think this is the first time I've heard this aspect of Jesus' life. People have been asking me questions about the disappearance of any records of his life history afterwards. But this is a very interesting question. Whether the revelations continued, and if they did, why was not the record kept as an ajil?
Let's say even in a distorted form.
Yes. As far as the Anajil are concerned, let's first look at the nature and character of the New Testament. They are in fact narratives of what he did and how he moved about and what happened to him. Only a very small part of the so-called New Testament is in fact revelation. Otherwise, it would be taken to be a revelation not that of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, but of his gospel, of his apostles, and of some who were not even apostles. So they have to be considered, the present form of an Ajil or the New Testament should be considered as a narrated record, like traditions of the Holy Prophet, which refer things to him, what he did and how he moved about, and or annals kept by some of his followers who saw him, and some later on from hearsay or other reports narrated certain events. But the central figure of the New Testament, the main core, which can be attributed to Jesus Christ, what he said, is very little, almost negligible as compared to the rest of the Bible story. His birth, his reputation, his disappearance, what happened to him during crucifixion, how he walked about, how he showed miracles, that is not a revelation at all. That is just a life history. So, very few wahi ilhamat or revelations would be found in the Anajil. And the main book of law which Jesus Christ followed and he was destined to follow was Torah and the Old Testament, mainly Torah in fact. It was Torah as law book. The rest of the Old Testament is also very similar to the New Testament in its character. So that was already there. And as far as revelations are concerned, as I have told, they were compared to the Old Testament, very few. And in fact, he didn't come to change the Torah or the older teaching. He himself admits it. I have not come to change a jot of the Bible or the old saying. of the book or of the Torah. I don't remember the exact words, but that is what he refers to. That he didn't come to change the Torah. So now, whatever little part, God must have continued to speak to him. That is very important. And even if not voluminous, we must have some record. But previously I spoke on this subject here. It was about 2 months ago. I mentioned one fact, that the personality of Jesus Christ got intermingled and intermixed with the personality of Buddha. And as a Buddha was expected to appear from about 500 to 600 years from the earlier Buddha, when Jesus Christ appeared there in exactly the same time, his teachings deeply influenced the Buddhists, and they took him to be the Buddha which was predicted. Like Hadhrat Mirza Tahir Ahmed, he is called a Messiah, and his character as Messiah is so deeply accepted by us, and we know it so deeply ingrained in us, that if the records were confused later on, we would know him, or the future generation would know him as a Messiah, less a Mahdi than a Messiah. So Jesus Christ must have had two positions there. One of a Buddha, and perhaps it was he who was being predicted by the Buddha, that a new Buddha would appear. And also because of the similarities of both those teachings, things got confused, and whatever is kept under a certain Buddha in records. The records have not been lost. So it is a very interesting subject for research. Researchers must study from this point of view the book which was left, or the annals which were recorded about that Buddha which I am talking about. And there I am quite certain you will find traces of revelations to him. But again there would be some confusion there. The confusion would be because of the present day Buddhists having turned into atheists. And they believe that Buddha himself was consummate wisdom. And it was the wisdom of Buddha, the man, which has given us light and guidance. Now, as far as the Ahmadi attitude is concerned, that is different, of course, and we prove our case by quoting from some earlier sources of Buddhists, that he was merely a messenger, he didn't speak from himself. But as far as the Buddhists are concerned, they look back at their own history in this perspective. So perhaps whatever has been said by Messiah after his migration to Kashmir, if it is recorded as I claim it is, as a Buddha of the time, that reference to God would be perhaps eliminated. And what you would find, a Buddha speaking from his own wisdom. But if you study that period, you will find traces which could positively lead a researcher back to Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. Another point which is to be considered is that as far as his teachings, whatever the teachings were concerned, although they were mainly followings of they were mainly under the Torah, maybe some explanations or small deviations, but they had to be revealed in toto before he had migrated, because then his mission to the first addressees would not be complete. His first address was